Fargo Davies Eagles. She's the head coach. That is Tonah Safranski, as they won a state championship in girls basketball for the first time in program history. And Tonah, when you got to that very final buzzer on Saturday night and you knew that, okay, everything that kind of came together for the season through postseason play, what's kind of going through your mind, and your coach's staff mind when you kind of hear that final buzzer, knowing that you were a state champ defeating Bismarck High?
It's just very, very rewarding. I feel like the girls, they deserve it. And, a lot of girls deserve it. A lot of teams deserve it. But our team was kind of on a mission, and they were very workmanlike and just went out to get the job done, and they did it.
The one thing earlier in the year, I remember you talking about, playing the Bismarck Centuries, playing in Alexandria, playing, mine at High that was at home at the end of the regular season here. How did that help you going into a state tournament, seeing some Western competition that maybe you normally wouldn't get to see in the old two-class system? How did that maybe help the girls just understand what style of play or what kind of the elements would kind of be once you got to that state tournament here, Tonah?
I think you're spot on with how big of a key role that plays. I think just to have the challenge and just to see, okay, this is some of their strengths, but these are our strengths, and what do we need to do to combat those things, or different things like that, and just to get that feel for what it's going to take to compete and win in those big games. And I think the fact that we were able to play some of those games this year versus in years past, we didn't have room in our schedule to do those cross-state games. And even the Alexandria game for us was another big one. And to put the kids in those situations where they're in those pressure situations to get the job done. And, I think that was really important and played a key in building the preparation for the state tournament.
The one thing that you saw from your team most at state during Bismarck, during the 3 games to come out with wins, obviously Bismarck High, Red River, and able to go up against Legacy there, Tonah, what was the one thing in those 3 games that kind of you think that allowed you to get to Saturday night and allowed you to, so to speak, cut down the nets for the first time?
I think there was a couple things. The defensive end of the court was really important for us. We had a couple breakdowns here and there, but for the most part, we were pretty solid. And, through a couple different looks at teams and players throughout the course of each game. And, I thought the girls, they thrive on that when we challenge them with, okay, we're going to switch defenses and switching on the fly and looking over and communicating on the court. And, I think it keeps the kids kind of fresh and keeps them mentally engaged in the game as well. So I thought that was important, and I thought we took care of the basketball. And in tournament time games, every possession is really important. And I thought we did a nice job of, especially in the Red River game. I think the last time we played Red River, we had 27 turnovers or something like that, which that is just usually not our team. And I think in the semifinal game we had 7. So I mean, that's a huge difference. And to give yourself a chance, to have positive possessions is really important.
The 3 seniors that you had with Carly Franks, your daughter with Ashton Safranski and Cadence Modine as well. Ashton was tournament MVP. You had Carly as the all-tournament team with Ashton and Fallon Paginante as well. But what are the 3 seniors in terms of their roles? What did they provide? And what does it mean for those 3 in particular here, Tonah, to kind of see that culmination of hard work, as you mentioned, come to fruition there with a state title?
Well, I think the key with all 3 of those girls is they're extremely hard workers, and they're great kids. And, we often hear a lot about Carly and Ashton and, as seniors, but Cadence Modine she's kind of that mom of the team. And, she's a communicator. She's one in practice and in games that is always communicating and talking and giving positive feedback to her teammates. And just that role that she played, throughout the course of the season was, you don't know, people don't see that stuff, but it was vital for our team. And for her to come out and hit a couple threes this weekend, and she works as hard as everyone on the team, and I was super proud of her and all of her efforts throughout the course of the season. Obviously along with the things that Carly and Ashton do as well.
The one thing, and a lot of people are going to ask you this, I know, for years to come, just the shooting performance that you saw with Carly, right? That was, I mean, two girls, Jocelyn Schiller, and we
Yeah.
saw her go off in the EDC tournament. She carried that with her, obviously, to state. And then here comes Carly, and it just seemed like every time it let it go, you almost expected it to go in the hoop a little bit because she was in that rhythm. What was that matchup like as a coach, where you have someone on the opposite side in the semifinals who you've seen before? You're trying to minimize, touches, but still getting to the paint, still getting the free throw line. But then the own right, you have your own player kind of like in a pitching duel that is, getting strikeouts and, turning double plays, if you will. But on the basketball
Yeah.
court, it's answer. How was that matchup for you, like on that semifinal night?
There were a couple times that I just smiled. I was in awe. You know, it was just unbelievable. And so, I'm not surprised by it because Carly has that ability to do that. And, it was a thing of beauty. I talk about, different things at different times, but, to shoot like that and to kind of put us on her back um, I told the girls, keep getting her the ball. Like she's feeling it and get her the ball. And they did. And we needed it. It was exactly what we needed. And very, very special for her.
Yeah, 11 3-pointers in a game. If sometimes you hit 5 or 6, she, about to hit 11 in that one, 13 in a tournament. Kind of a twofold question here, Tony. I know the EDC tournament in terms of that semifinal didn't go how you wanted it, going up against a really good opponent too in Jaden Hale, but able to come back, beat Fargo North, and then you kind of get yourself going. What did you learn about yourself, or what was the message after that loss to, win 4 straight in a row? And with essentially, a win or go home game on Saturday. And then if you want to win a state title, you had to win 3 straight once you get to Bismarck. So what did you kind of learn, or what did your team take from that particular, EDC semifinal loss to Tonah against Forest?
Yeah, I think, anytime you lose in tournament time, it's tough. But, I told the girls after the game, we need to have short memories and forget about it and move on to our next task, which was, the Fargo North game to qualify for the state tournament. And then once you get to state, it's any one of the 8 teams can do it. And I thought the girls did a nice job. It was, you know, back to work on Friday to prep for Fargo North, and then get into that game. And I thought we played a very good game against Fargo North, and that was great to see. It was back to us dictating what was happening on the floor a little bit more, with our defense and just a great team game in that game as well.
Couple days now removed from a state championship here, Tonah. So when you can kind of think back on the season to where it was in November to the off-season stuff that kind of happens with it, what are you going to remember most just in general about the 2023-2024 Fargo Davies girls basketball team?
I think the biggest thing is just their mentality and their work ethic and how they came together as a team and grew as a team throughout the course of the season. We knew coming into this that, putting 5 guards out on the court to start the game and really replacing any starters with the substitutes that are guards as well was going to be a challenge. And it took a little while for some of our girls to transition from playing that perimeter defensive role to a interior defensive role. And it the way the challenges were throughout the season, I think that really they grew a lot and accepted their roles. And we had girls that would do whatever it took to help our team be successful. And that doesn't always happen. And I think that's a huge credit to the girls. And they're all great friends, and they wanted this for each other and wanted to get it done in the best way that they could do it.
Final thing for you, Tonah, before we let you go. Once you finally, able to kind of hug the coaching staff and understand that what's going to happen, and you start hearing the all tournament team coming out there and seeing the seniors, come and grab that state championship, both from a parent, but also from a coaching perspective, how much were you allowing yourself to just soak up that particular moment, to be in that moment before? Because Davies has knocked on the door at state, right? You got to that state tournament before and came up a little bit short, but this year able to, come out as a state champ. Did you have a chance just to kind of take a collective breath and just kind of say, okay, we finally accomplished a team goal that we wanted? You're getting, a couple of players on the all tournament team, your daughter again with the MVP of the tournament with Ashton. How much did you allow yourself to soak it in at that particular time?
It's everything happens so fast during, that situation, but it 100% still hasn't totally hit me yet. But in the moment, it was pretty cool to see the girls and, the boys team come running out, and the students that were there, and, celebrate on the court with the girls. And, we have an amazing coaching staff that, has been, vital in how this team's success has gone as well. And I'm just, happy for the kids. And at some point, here it's gonna hit me. So
Tonah, congratulations on the win. We'll let you go enjoy a little bit of vacation here in the Arizona sun, and best of luck again moving forward as you kind of get into the off season here.
thank you. I appreciate all the work you put in, and the shows you have on, and all the stuff you do for showcasing our girls and promoting high school girls basketball in the state of North Dakota. All your hard work is very appreciated as well, Chase. And I got people all over the country that watch your live event, and we're super blessed to have what you do for our kids. So thank you.
You bet. Thanks so much, Tonah.
Live, work, and play here in Hillsboro, North Dakota. The Hillsboro Economic Development Committee can assist you with information and support for business and housing. Experience Hillsboro. More at 104.
Join us now from the Fargo Davies Eagles. She is Carly Franks, part of that state championship basketball team here. And Carly, for you, first things first, what does it mean to go out as a senior in your basketball career as a state champ and win the first one in program history for Fargo Davies?
It means everything. We've wanted this since we've started playing basketball, and it was just unreal to be able to do it my senior year. I wouldn't ask to go out any other way.
The one thing that best describes the 2023-24 Eagles is what? What's a term, a couple of sentences that best describes the basketball team this season?
I would say, I don't know. I'd say maybe just unity. We had such a good bond on and off the court, and I think that really helped us to win a state championship. We really trust each other, and it just helped us all to be able to know that we had each other on our backs when we needed to.
You had Cadence as well and Ashton, your fellow seniors, to kind of go through the system. You guys were knocking on the door a couple of years as freshmen, sophomore, and juniors, and to go out as a senior. Did you kind of have that embrace a little bit once all the photos and everything was done? Did you three kind of come to the conclusion of trying to soak it in as much as possible once you kind of got to that championship, trophy came out and being part of a, all tournament team? How much did you three seniors try to embrace, that last couple of minutes, if you will, on your basketball career?
We did, for sure. We started playing travel ball, us three together, when we were in elementary school, and throughout the years, it's always something that we've wanted, but to be able to go and do that in the moment, like coming back with the trophy and holding it up, just us three, it was unreal. And we're all just looking at each other like, no way, this just really happened.
Have you ever hit 11 3-pointers before in a game prior to that semifinal, Carly?
No, nope.
Is when you all of a sudden hit that first one, do you even know how many 3-pointers you were at in that particular game? Or is it's such a good game, you're going up against a quality opponent in Red River, Schiller's making every bucket, trying to answer back? Do you know where you are as a shooter, or is it, hey, I'm just catching and shooting and trying to get, 3 more points for my team?
Yeah, it was obviously a really back and forth game, and we kind of knew that Red River was going to come out in a zone, and so we assumed that there would be some wide open looks on the perimeter. And that's kind of what's special about our team, is that any one of us can go off at any moment. And so we know how to work the ball around and find the open players, and we're willing to trust each other to make those shots. And so when I was going off, my teammates did a great job getting me the ball. And no, me and Ashton didn't know when we got interviewed afterwards. The interview lady said that it was 11, and we were both kind of in shock. So it was awesome.
Able to break a record, obviously, both from a state record there. That's pretty cool too. What's the one thing that you're going to remember most now you're a couple days removed from this championship run, whether it's something back in November, middle of the season, you played in the breakdown game down in Alexandria too. You had a lot of different non-conference opponents this year, Carly, but what's one or two memories that you think you're going to just take with you for the rest of your lifetime here?
I think just the whole tournament in general this year was completely different. Every year that I've played prior to this, none of the groups of girls just have not been this close, and we hang out all the time, and being able to have fun in the hotel and on the bus rides and everything like that. So just being able to experience a state championship with this group of girls is just, it's never going to happen again.
Once you kind of go forward now, what's your plans upcoming in the fall, and where are you kind of headed off to for college here, Carly?
Yeah, I decided I'm not going to play basketball in college. I am just going to go to UND and pursue a business career and see where that takes me.
So what made UND kind of be the nice thing? I'm assuming some intramurals might be still coming up for you a little bit here to maybe get 11 threes again in a game, but what made UND kind of the right fit from a academic point of view?
Yeah, my dad and brother both went to UND, and I knew that I wanted to do business just because it's something I can do a lot with, and I'm not quite sure what I really want to do. So knowing that they have a good business program and it's still close to home, so made it a big factor as well.
Some words of advice, if you could go back to the 14-year-old Carly, or talk to a 8th grader or a freshman that's, trying to knock on the door and be part of the varsity program, whether it's basketball or anything else, what would be some words of advice that you would want to pass down, Carly, going through your particular journey?
I would say just to have fun with it every day, because at practices, you're going to get frustrated. After games, you're going to get frustrated. But just to keep your head up and to know that like it's all worth it in the end. And yeah, you got to just have fun with it while you can, because it's over really quickly.
Is there any superstitions? Did you have to, have a certain sandwich before every game, or listen to a certain song, or, tie up the left shoe before you tied up the right? Are you superstitious at all when it comes to basketball?
Not really, but like I would put my uniform and like shoes on in the same way every single game.
Okay.
Same order.
And then what did you see most of the growth from this year's team, Carly? Because you guys came in, and I know you didn't have a lot of post players, and there had to be some girls who had to maybe play post defense or offense than what they really had before. But what was the one thing from a growth standpoint that you saw most in your team here this season?
We do have a lot of guards. Not having a post was kind of a struggle for us from the beginning, but I think along with that, we had a little bit of length to sacrifice in there. And so I think communication was something that we really, really harped on in practice all year, because, having people in backside help and knowing where you're at in the court, and especially in the state championship game, it's so loud out there. And so I think when it really mattered, our communication was there.
Last thing for you, Carly, you got 2 months left, really almost till graduation day comes around the corner. So what are you going to enjoy most here of the next couple of months from a student, or just kind of what you have on the docket, the last couple of months here with Fargo Davies?
I think I'm just ready to graduate and gonna live up these last couple months of senior year and have some fun at UND and just have fun this summer.
Hey, Carly, congratulations again on a great career on the basketball court, and best of luck moving forward.
Thank you.
Joining us now from the West Fargo Cheyenne Mustangs, he's the head basketball coach. That is Tim Brandt, as they bring back a state championship for the first time in boys basketball program history. And Tim, those words, state championship, back home to West Fargo Cheyenne. Once everything came to a culmination, what's kind of going through your mind as the head coach, seeing everything in its inception for a decade plus coming to, fruition there in Bismarck?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't know if it's even really fully sank in yet, and I don't know when it will, but no, it was such an incredible few days, and just the way the kids put it together for 3 days and beat 3 really good basketball teams. It's super exciting. I'm happy for those kids. I'm happy for our school and our program.
Able to come back through the EDC tournament, able to win that state qualifier against Fargo South. You get to state. What did you see from your team for those 3 particular games, Thursday through Saturday at state, Tim, that allowed you to win a state championship?
Just resiliency, whenever you get to a state tournament, you're going to play 3 really good teams, as I mentioned, but if things don't go our way, we didn't get down on ourselves. We kind of stuck to the game plan. We kept fighting, especially Saturday night against Fargo North, when we got down 7 at one point, I think. Huge momentum shift, I think, that during that game. Obviously the one big highlight we saw during that game, we didn't get down. We kept fighting, and we stayed resilient. We didn't get rattled. We knew that going in there, we're going to make some runs. We could get down. That's what happens when you're playing in a state championship game against a really, really good team. So the biggest thing was just our mental toughness and our resiliency.
Couple of guys to bring about that made the all-tournament team, and Caleb Deere, and alongside with Tommy Ottoman, Tommy as well, the MVP. What did you see from Caleb and Tommy here those 3 days that allowed him to, be part of that all-tournament team here there, Tim?
Okay. Well, obviously both of them had 3 really, really good days. Caleb's he does everything for us, and that's sort of what I bring up anytime somebody asks about our team. Is Caleb's the heart and soul of that team. He doesn't need to score to affect a basketball game. He rebounds, he defends, he facilitates. But it is obviously nice when he can put the ball in the hole too, and he did that really well throughout the 3 days. And Tommy's just Tommy. He's a big, strong dude in the middle. He's tough to handle. He gets his hands on a basketball, and that's his basketball, and he's going to go score it when you throw it into him. So it's really, really nice having a 6'9", 6'10", extremely skilled player in the middle of the floor that everybody has to game plan for and respect.
There's 2 other guys too. I mean, Barry Pennu did a lot of really good things for you. And then Noah Olson, I know we were chatting beforehand saying he had to draw, if you want to say the short end of the stick or the best player from a guard perspective, he had to go up. But those 2 in particular, 2 are vital in that run to a state championship. What did you see from Noah and Barry respectively as well, Tim?
Yeah, well, Barry ran our offense so efficiently throughout the 3 days. And he's a guy that I was, when they were kind of announcing all tournament team names, he was a guy that I was really hoping would be on there. So I was a little disappointed that they didn't call his name, but he had a great 3 days. And then Noah Olson, having to guard 3 of arguably the best 3-point guards in the state with Andre Austin, Claybo, and Jeremiah Sem. And he's up for that challenge. I mean, that's what we do with him. We stick him on a team's best player, and he takes pride in harassing him a little bit. That's just his mentality, and that's the mentality he had for 3 straight days. And after we won it on Saturday night, we were sitting in the locker room, and it's like, if we had to go again tomorrow night, do you think you could go again? He's like, oh, absolutely. That's just he's a hardworking kid. That's just his mentality. But yeah, he was super tough for 3 days, and a big reason why we got to where we got.
You mentioned, 3 games in 3 days, but also this senior class able to leave their own legacy in a roundabout way. Obviously, John Engnow and a good senior class for you guys as well. Here, Tim, what does it mean with this group of guys that has battled? I know John mentioned it in our post game in the EDC tournament, having to deal with an injury last year, coming back this year as a senior with just one of his stories as an example. But what does it mean for the senior class to, go out as state champs in your mind?
It's awesome. They're such a great group of kids. And, like we had mentioned, I've been here since the start of the program, and this was my 11th year as a coach there. I've spent 9 as a JV coach, now 2 as a head coach. And so these kids were, I think, 1st or 2nd grade when I first got here. So, you kind of watch them grow up throughout the years, coming to summer camps, coming to games. And, you see them go from little kids to young men, and, just the steps that they make throughout their growth and throughout their lives. It's really fun to see them get to this point, and I'm proud of them. And, you mentioned John and battling through some injuries last year. And I don't know how many people know this, but he's been banged up this year too. He's been dealing with a foot thing for the last month and a half. But you never know it, because that's just how tough the kid is. You can't keep him off the floor. It doesn't matter what he's going through. He's going to give you everything he has. And it's just, this group is extremely special, and I'm just really happy for him.
Kind of felt like maybe the Mr. Feeney, if you will, seeing someone go through in the Boy Meets World, right? He just kept going through with his respective students and kind of able to do that as well, Tim. And there, you mentioned a locker room. I saw on social media, someone had a photo of you with the net around with that championship trophy. What was going through your mind at that point? Was it more relief? Was it more jubilation, or was it, I still can't believe we actually won the darn thing, beating North, Davies, and Bismarck High, all three quality clubs, in a row at a state tournament?
Yeah, it was all the above, like all those emotions, not disbelief, because, I believe that we could do it. It was, the kids put on, we're the champions in the locker room, and they were all singing and celebrating. And I just wanted to sort of take a minute to sit there and watch them and enjoy what they had accomplished. So I just sort of sat in the back and watched them a little bit. And then Sullivan Irie noticed me, and he kind of peeked around the corner a little bit and snapped that picture. So I was just sitting there sort of taking it all in and just enjoying watching our kids enjoy what they just accomplished for our school. So it was a cool moment.
It's always cool to see in the first for programs, but what does this mean from a coaching staff standpoint, from your current coaches? So I know you probably are still pretty going there with Coach Kurt Hoffman, talking with him probably as well throughout. But what does this one mean, Tim, particularly just from the coach's point of view? Because I remember coaching against Tom Kirchhoffner in a 9th grade basketball game when Cheyenne only had one half of the gym was done. There wasn't 2 bleachers, and a couple years later, you see the growth and everything with that. So going from then to a group of guys to where they are now, does this feel like a full circle moment for anybody that was part of the Mustangs, from a coach to a player, for the last decade?
Yeah, it does. And I mentioned that in one of the interviews as well. This finally being able to get this done and bring a championship home. It's, obviously these kids accomplished that, but they don't get to this point without the previous graduating classes, all 9, 10 graduating classes that we've had. Each one of those classes has raised the bar a little bit more and more every single year. And that's no different with these kids, obviously winning a state title. So we don't get to this point without those previous players, and without Tom. I texted Tom after the game and told him that we aren't at this point without him. He started this program, he built it to where it is right now, and I told him that I was grateful for him, and I don't know if I'm in this position without him. He brought me to this district. He wanted me here as his assistant coach. And, if he doesn't do that and believe in me, I'm not in this position. So I was really, really grateful, for him. And I made sure to let him know that.
Final thing for you, Tim, when you're going to think back now, I know it's a couple days, but when you think back on the 2023-2024 Mustangs, what's a memory or two outside of that state championship? What's going to be a memory or two that you're going to carry with you most, going into the off season and for, future years to come?
Well, I mean, just being around these group of kids, I don't know if there's anything specific that stands out. And they always say that it's not the games that you're going to remember. It's the locker room after the game. It's the bus rides. It's all that stuff. And just, being around such an incredible group of guys, that's what I'll take from this. Obviously the state championship is great, but being around, basketball season can get pretty long, 4 months. When you can be around a group that you truly love being around, and really, really enjoy it, that's the best part of it. The winning basketball games and all that stuff is secondary compared to these relationships.
Tim, thanks much for your time. Congratulations again, and best moving forward.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Chase.
Hey growers, when working on your water management solutions, call Chad's Excavating out of Mayville. They are your water management contractor, helping you with tile drainage plans, service drainage plans, or both. Remember, water management is a lifetime investment. Call Chad 701-430-0182 to get your water problem solved. For more information, follow Chad's Excavating on Facebook. For tile drainage and service plans, call 701-430-0182. Chad's Excavating out of Mayville, helping farmers grow.
Do you want that new boat? Are you building onto your home? Maybe you want the new camper or ATV. Dakota Heritage Bank can help you. This is Dustin Nagel, president at Dakota Heritage Bank Hillsborough location. You can visit with me or our other loan officers to help with loans and lines of credit from Dakota Heritage Bank. We are serving you with locations in North Dakota and Northwest Minnesota. Dakota Heritage Bank offers financial services you expect with a local perspective. dhbanknd.com. Dakota Heritage Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
There's more at 104. Hillsborough, North Dakota has everything you need on your next road trip. Food, fuel, fun, and family-friendly activities. Stop by and fill up your tank or grab a bite to eat. Have a blast at Goose River Golf Club, the swimming pool, or one of our beautiful parks. There's even ice skating and cross-country skiing. Take in the sights or stay the night so you don't miss a thing. Experience Hillsborough and see why there's more at 104.
Joining us now from the Kindred Vikings, he is Brad Wells. They gear up for the State A basketball tournament at the Fargo Dome. And Brad, congratulations again on making it to state. Let's just kind of recap since Thursday night. Maybe you got to enjoy a little bit of the state qualifiers. You didn't have to play in them. And now you get ready for those 8 teams that were making its way to the Fargo Dome here once you saw 1 through 8, the seed line. So what is it from a coach's perspective been like since Thursday when you knew half the teams making it to state? You had to wait to see what the other 4 teams were going to do before you got to that bracket, Saturday night. So what's it kind of been like from the coach's side here, Brad?
Well, it's obviously been different as we had the 4 qualifying games on Saturday. I really liked the venue at the Shack and the state qualifying games. It was a lot of fun just to spectate and watch those games. I thought it was a pretty intense or a couple intense games with a lot on the line. I think we do have, for the most part, the best teams at the state tournament, and that's what this state qualifier was supposed to do.
You mentioned one of the state qualifying teams is team you're going to play in Killdeer, right? A last-second buzzer beater shot, first time in a long time, 80 years they've been to state, but also a team that you played earlier this season with that Valley City shootout. So how has Killdeer changed from the end of December to where they are now here in March, Brad, when you kind of put on the film?
Well, I think they're really have improved defensively. They're always going to be scrappy. They're always going to be a physical team. Coach Pruitt does a very good job with them. And I think it's just like every team, around December, we're kind of in mid-season form and everybody's going to show some improvement. And I think defensively, they've showed a lot of improvement throughout the course of the season.
I know once you get to state, sometimes you don't play in certain venues until you finally get to state. So how is state challenging? How is state fun? Everything that goes involved with it, Brad, from a coach's point of view.
Well, it's fun for the perspective that, you had some of these guys a couple years ago on the roster, but they were not as important players. Now they're the key players for us. So it's different. And it's always fun to take a new group to state. I'm interested to see what the Fargo Dome venue is going to be like for us. Definitely a bigger venue. I attended a state tournament there a number of years ago. So I know it's going to be different. We'll see how the shoot around goes on Thursday, and hopefully we play well.
I remember talking with you earlier in the season, Brad, and you said as much as you had 5 starters, you wanted, 5 finishers or 7 finishers. You wanted guys that wanted to be on the floor to, close out games. How have you used that mentality to your advantage to where you are so far this season with some of those closers, with some of those finishers, if you will, whether they're starting or they're coming off the bench for you this season?
We bring off 2 guys pretty consistently in Riley Sunram and Owen Hoyme. They probably could start just as easy for us as to come off the bench. I think their minutes really align with what the starters have as far as minutes are concerned. And we have closed games with other lineups, and it's not just the starters. It's been a total team effort this year.
You mentioned Owen Hoyme. What does he provide kind of as a senior, someone who's been in your program for quite some time now here, Brad? Just kind of what does he provide, from your point of view?
Well, he gives us the spark off the bench. He ignites a lot of things for us. He's a good defender, good on-ball defender. He's a very scrappy player, but I think one of the things that he does for us is he can shoot the basketball at a very high rate. He's shooting close to 50% from 3-point range. And we really like that spark that he provides off the bench for us.
You mentioned someone who can shoot extremely well. Obviously, Carson Ossie is one of those players too, who's got a good 15 to 25 footer, obviously. So what is Carson from a, obviously a shooter's perspective, but what does he do even defensively? Sometimes it maybe, goes unnoticed.
Well, I think a lot of times he can create havoc with his length on these smaller guards. It's tough to get a shot over him. And if you make one, you definitely earn it. So we like putting him on typically either the first or second best perimeter player for the opponent.
Brad, as you take a look, everything's new this year, as we mentioned, with the 3 classes and the state qualifiers. Something new this year with the fans and the teams involved too, is seeding 1 through 8. How does that go moving forward from last year? Is it still a coach's vote? I've been asked about it, many times before from other people going, wow, they're seeding 1 through 8. How is this going to happen? Do you get to play a team the 4th time in a region, if you played them in the tournament? So can you just take us through a little bit how the voting went this year to seed, 1 through 8 at the state tournament compared to previous years where you had random draws and, you seeded 1 through 5?
Well, every coach that qualified for the state tournament got 1 vote and would seed 1 through 7. You don't seed your own team. And it was my understanding that the North Dakota High School Activities Association would make adjustments if there were matchups that included region matchups. So, for example, if we were a 4 seed and matched up with Valley City, they'd make sure that got adjusted, at least for the first round. That was my understanding.
As you go into this state tournament, Brad, here, as you mentioned, you're going to get a shoot around at the Fargo Dome like all 8 teams are going to be able to do. But what's the one thing come Thursday night, roughly at, 6:30 when you get to the opening tip against Kildare? What's the one thing you want to see from your club, moving forward into this state tournament?
I think just to relax and enjoy the moment. I mean, we've put a lot of hard work into this, and you got to participate in a state tournament. Let's enjoy the experience and play well.
Final thing for you, Brad. Trader characteristic that best describes this version of Vikings basketball this season. What's something that comes to mind?
Well, I think our defensive intensity and our length is something that we've kind of hung our hat on this year again. We're giving up 44 points a game, which we like, and it'll keep you in a lot of games.
Brad, as always, thanks so much for your time and best of luck here this week at the Fargo Dome.
Thanks, Chase.
Joining us now on our Coaches Show from Sargent County, he is the head basketball coach of the Bulldogs. That is Ryan Weber here as they gear up for their state tournament and the Minot State Dome. Ryan, first things first, congratulations on getting there. What's the world been, so to speak, been like since you won the Region 1 tournament at the Jamestown Civic? You didn't have to worry about state qualifiers. Now you get ready for a 3 games in 3 days. But when you won on Thursday night last week in Jamestown, what's the next 5-6 days kind of been like from a coach's perspective here?
A whirlwind for sure. I gave the guys Friday off. We'd been going forever. Girls went to states. They went to all those games. Then we went to regions, and they were just tired. They're beat. So Friday I gave them the day off. Saturday watched those games, and Sunday is when it really started to turn up. We watched some film together, and then practice yesterday. Started getting the game plan in. But it's been a whirlwind of just everything. We got 3 communities here, so people are reaching out all the time saying congratulations, stuff like that. A lot of stuff I didn't really expect, just from interviews and things like that. It's been a whirlwind, but it's fun. It's to be one of the last teams in our class to be playing here still is quite special. So taking it all in stride, really enjoying it, taking in the moments.
How did you, with the state qualifier, knowing that you didn't have to worry about it once you won on Thursday night, how much were you kind of as a one side a fan of basketball, but on the opposite side also bringing your coach's hat, so to speak, on to see, hey, we can maybe match up with someone in the West or we could see someone in the East? How much was it kind of a hand in hand of a fan, but also maybe I want to do some work here and jot some notes down here, Ryan?
Yeah, I watched them all. I had, I had the West ones on my phone, and I had the ones from Fargo up on my TV. So I was watching them both. Coach Strobel and Coach Steele really like both those guys, really like the teams that they have. So, obviously I'm cheering for those guys to make it through. It's pretty special to get 3 of our teams in state. Those Western teams, there was a part of me that kind of felt like we'd get matched up with Minot Ryan had they won, and we are. So I was kind of paying a little more attention to how they were playing. But it was good basketball. I watched all of them from Fargo, the Division A ones, all those. It's really good basketball this time of year. It's fun to watch, but it's pretty special getting 3 teams out of our region. Tried to relax a bit and not scout and watch and all that, but in the back of my head, I'm still thinking, man, I got to be writing stuff down, or be watching some of the kids that they have, some of the names I know, just making sure we keep tabs on them. But yeah, it was nice to be able to just sit in my chair though and watch it, not worry about being there.
As you kind of take a look at Bishop Bryan here, I guess, since you kind of put them on film, since you take a look at what they've been able to do, arguably a good region, as well in the B division this year. I know them and West Hope Newburgh have had some, pretty good clashes just between those two teams. But what kind of stands out or jumps off the page when you take a look at Bishop Bryan in terms of what fans are going to see from the opposition, once you get to Thursday night?
Yeah, well, they got that Ramsey Walls kid at 6'8". He always sticks out, and he's a really special talent. He can handle the ball, shoot the ball, go back inside. And Jet Lundeen's another really special kid up there. Can do pretty much anything with the basketball. And then they got a lot of really good role players that shoot the ball pretty well. And they're really complimentary with when they get all 5 of those guys on the floor. They know where they need to be if Walls gets stopped or whoever. They know where the ball needs to go, where to kick it. But we playing in our region, we've seen a few big guys come through. I mean, you go back to Enderlin or the Hurlberts, playing Kindred. They've always had somebody that's 6'6" or taller or whatever. Kaczynski for Wyndmere Lidgerwood, 7-foot kid. So I mean, we've seen kids like that before. We played against this pretty special talent down here. So the seniors that I got, I don't think they're going to be intimidated or anything like that by somebody who's tall. I mean, they've seen it, they've played against it, they've guarded it. So I think they kind of know what to expect, and putting these guys on film and being able to watch them. I think it obviously helps our guys, but just you hear so much about kids, and some of the stories sometimes get inflated or things like that. But I think it's good to be able to see them, and our kids are relaxed and ready to go.
What does it mean for the co-op of the, Milner, Foreman, Gwinner areas, the respective school districts as well in those towns here, to have this co-op as Sargent County, making it to state on the boys' side here, Ryan? What does it mean from your perspective as the coach?
Yeah, it's pretty special. The Sargent Central joined our basketball co-op 4 years ago. So our current seniors would have been freshmen. So to see that, the growth each year is pretty special. Nick and Luke, they've been playing varsity ball since they were 8th graders. So to finally see them reach that pinnacle, it's a pretty special thing. I think our towns have really rallied together, these past few weeks with the girls and the boys going. You can see a little bit more of that Sargent County pride coming out as things get shared on Facebook and stuff like that. It's pretty special. I grew up here. We were all kind of rivals then, but even then we were kind of thinking, well, if we could all get together, we'd make a pretty special team. And to see it finally happen and come to fruition is pretty special.
You mentioned the seniors. There's a ton of them on your team, and I know you try to get, everybody in the game, but some people have to find their roles. Others are starters. Others come off the bench. Regardless, what does it mean with these, 8 seniors here, Ryan, and what they provided, Sargent County Bulldog basketball to get to state? What does it mean for them?
Yeah, they've poured everything they got into it. Starting with just summer stuff, open gyms, things like that. They're always there. And you don't always see that from a crew of kids. I've mentioned Luke and Nick have played since they were 8th graders, but Colton, Grady, Peyton, Carter, Chauncey, they've all poured their heart and soul into this thing. And it's, I know not all of them get to play or get all that time or whatever, but they've all excelled in their roles, and they've all accepted their roles. And that's pretty special for kids to be able to do that and just excel when they're needed. Guy like Carter Hosford gets in, 10, 15 minutes a game, whatever it is. But man, in those 10, 15 minutes, he gives it his all. And it makes it easy for me to be able to pull him off the bench like that. And hey, go chase somebody around, go to a couple steals, do your job. It makes it easier for me. It makes it easier for our other coaches too, that we got guys that have accepted the role and excelled in their roles.
Before we talk about state a little bit here, what do you want to see from your team? I remember back early on the season, you were saying, hey, you know what? We're going to have to explain what districts means to everyone, because these guys were 3rd or 4th graders last time we had districts, the oldest one of them. So now that you've gone through districts, now that you've gone through region, to get to state. What has been kind of some of the thoughts or the comments from the players itself playing in a district tournament that, again, it's been nearly a decade on this part of the state that we haven't seen it with those super regionals. So what is their thoughts now, Ryan, from what you heard of playing in Valley City, then going to Jamestown? Now you're heading to Minot, this postseason run where you get nearly, 10 extra basketball games almost, for crying out loud.
They love it. They do. The atmosphere in Valley City was awesome. Like going there and playing in that, they loved every minute of it. I know we kind of tripped up at the end there, didn't win district, but they loved every minute of it. And, even going to Jamestown where the fans just packed it in, and it felt special. And like the kids have loved every single minute of it. And that's kind of been the message going forward, or, started before districts, is you don't know when it's done. You have to go out there, give everything that you have, because this could end at any given moment. Now, we know we have 3 games left, but, before regions, I brought a few guys in, and Ben Waswick, Reed and Blake Nelson, and Drew Wittich to come and talk to the guys about that. I'm 34, but to them, that's a dinosaur. I ended my basketball career in it a long time ago. These guys, they know them. They've played against them, and theirs didn't end so long ago. So they came in and they gave it a bit of a talk about, the finality of it all. Don't, when you come into a locker room after a game, you cannot think, man, I should have did this, or I should have done this, or something like that. You got to go out there and you got to give it your all every single game, because you never know when this thing's going to be done.
And does that kind of go into my next question then, state? You got 3 games. Obviously, you're going to see what happens. You got the late game of the day on Thursday to kind of sit around and see what the last 3 games are. So what do you want to see from your team once you get to that opening tip, roughly, at 8:30, 8:15, on Thursday night here, Ryan?
I just hope they're excited to be there. I don't see how they're not going to be. I mean, we're playing in state, right? This is what you dream of. This is every kid that plays small Class B basketball in North Dakota. This is the pinnacle. So you have nothing to lose. You go out there and you just give it your all. Before regions, we found a different level of energy from these guys, and I'm really hoping that carries on. I don't see it not carrying on, but man, Josh Wittich and Colton Cadoon, they really just turned up the dial during districts and regions, and I really hope to see that again. And I, stepping on the floor against Minot Rhino, whoever it is up there in the Minot Dome, that's going to be a special time. I want them to, take a look around, drink it in, but then settle in. We're all going to have our jitters, but as soon as that first guy makes that first basket, it's time to go. And I hope they settle in a little bit quicker than the other team.
Final thing for you, Ryan, you kind of maybe alluded to it, but from an X's and O's standpoint, I guess, what's the one thing outside of those, wide eyes and then settling in nicely, once you kind of get through that shoot around and everything at the Minot State Dome, what do you want to see from your team from 3 days, last 3 games of the season in Minot? Ultimately, what do you want to see, so to speak, once you get to the Magic City?
I just want us to be us. I don't want us to go there and try to pretend we're something we're not, where we chuck up 25, 33s. That's not who we are as a basketball team. Obviously we like to pound it in. We got 3 guys that can really play physical down low. So I just don't want us to lose focus of who we are just because we're playing on this bigger stage, and all of a sudden we got to feel like we got to show off or something like that. I know we play a more traditional kind of basketball and we don't just chuck things up, but I just don't want us to lose sight of that. That's what's got us here. And I don't think we will. With a senior heavy team like this, the highs and the lows, they're pretty even keeled with these guys. So I don't think we'll lose sight of that, but I just hope they go up there and they show out and they play basketball like we know they can play.
Yeah, it's been a great time to be a Sargent County Bulldog fan. They got a lot of miles on their travel, and get add a couple more miles up to mine. Ryan, as always, thanks so much for your time, and best of luck once you get going here in that state tournament.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, Chase.
College goes far beyond the buildings, classrooms, and the tests. It's about making new friends, trying something different, and discovering your purpose. It's about getting involved, supporting your community, and joining the conversation. It's about learning, growing, and finding your passion. This is not your average classroom. This is the University of Minnesota Crookston.
Lee Brothers Sales, Highway 9 in Ada, invites you to order your new Chevrolet vehicles. From the Silverado, Trailblazer, and Traverse, Lee Brothers is your authorized Chevrolet dealer, providing sales and service to the area since 1975. For ordering your vehicles, talk with Mitch Smurfer J. Trust the experts who know your vehicles best and take advantage of great Chevy certified service offers today. Lee Brothers Sales, Highway 9, Ada. Call 218-784-2000.
I'm Tylee Johnson. I'm confident in the arena. And when it's time for college, I'm confident Bank of North Dakota will help me make good student loan decisions. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident.
I'm Lily Bell. I'm confident on the court, and when it's time for college, I'm confident Bank of North Dakota will help me make good student loan decisions. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident.
Treat yourself to a great career at American Crystal Sugar Company. Team up with quality people making quality products. Full-time and year-round in a stable business. With great pay and benefits including time off available from day one. American Crystal Sugar Company invests in you to promote your continued growth and career advancement. Grow your career doing your best work within the world's best beet sugar company. Apply online today at americancrystalcareers.com.
On the Coaches Show here this week, we're talking with the head boys basketball coach and the athletic director of Thompson and Brady Schwab. And Brady, I got to say, I think looking at the front part of the season to now, even though he didn't make the state tournament, a great finish to the season for your boys team.
Yeah, as the year went on, I thought we grew, as a team. We got better, and we talked about competing all year long, and I thought we competed that last game, and one shot late, one shot here or there, and it tells a different story. And I know our guys and myself, were disheartened at the end that we had because of the amount of work that they put in, but a couple life lessons to take away from that, and hopefully get another shot here in the future.
What did it feel like to, because it's the first year of this new 3-class system, a lot of unique features, including those state qualifying games. What did it feel like to, defeat Grafton in the semifinals and then almost knock off a really good Valley City in that state qualifying matchup?
Yeah, that setup, you hear one of two things, right? People love it because it gives, the best teams hopefully an opportunity to get to that state tournament. And then, some of your traditionalists don't like it because when you lose, you should be done type of mentality. But, with the number of teams that are in that class and the setup that we have, that setup is good. I think it gives teams, like I said, an opportunity. For instance, this year with Grafton, who is a very, very good basketball team, to lose that one game and then have that entire season end is pretty tough. Now they get an opportunity to go back and, play in a state tournament and probably compete, for a state championship there. So that setup, I think, is real good. That atmosphere that day on Saturday, those playing games is pretty lights out. It used to be the region championship was the big game, but now that third place game in the region tournament, holds a lot of weight. And obviously that championship Saturday, is for a true basketball fan that just wants to go watch basketball. There's probably nothing better other than the state tournament.
And let's quickly touch on 3 outstanding young men that made up the senior class. And I don't know that you can sum up Drew Overby, first of all, in a few minutes, but try to do it, Coach.
Yeah, I thought Drew was one of those kids that, just loves the game of basketball. And he puts in a lot of time outside of the season. He puts in a lot of time during the season and just likes to play the game. And, it didn't end how he wanted it to end, but he had some really, really stellar individual performances for us this year. And then you take Braden Wolfgram, another kid that's just a savvy veteran, understands the game. Knows where the ball needs to go. The season didn't start how he wanted it to with an injury, and anybody coming off an injury, it's not just that next game. It takes a few games after that. So it took him a little while to get going, but he's kind of that stalemate that you're going to miss. And then Jordan Gustafson was a kid who brought it, every day in practice. And as the season went on, I think he improved, just because he got to play the likes of Landon Olson and different kids that we were going to match up with. So, all 3 of those kids, are multi-sport athletes and participate in a number of things and have success in other sports. And, they're going to do great things this spring and then, flip the page onto their collegiate.
From an athletic director's perspective, I know it wasn't the finish that any Thompson fan, player, coach wanted on the girls' side, but a third place finish is a third place finish at the state tournament, and that says something in and of itself.
It does, and I think every coach would tell you going into a state tournament undefeated is the last thing that you want. You obviously don't want to lose games, but going in there undefeated is extremely tough. That target's already big on your back, and it gets bigger and bigger. And you tip your cap. Obviously, we played Devils Lake a number of times during the year, and then to play a South Prairie team that was South Prairie Max that was clicking on all cylinders at the right time with young kids is tough. And we just about took the punch and kept standing, but then the character of the girls, just to be able to flip that script and get a win to close the season out with a win is something that only 4 teams get to do. So that's pretty impressive season all around record wise. The kids put in the time, and obviously, like you said, Jane's not the finish that they wanted, but they did come back, show some character, and get a win in that last game.
And as we kind of look ahead, I know we still have 1 week, North Dakota basketball left to go, but the spring sports is on the horizon. Track and field's already gotten started. Baseball, softball, boys golf around the corner.
Yeah, it's that time, and no rest for the wicked, right? And they're, our kids are excited, and that's one thing that, I think we still have going, where we have a number of our student athletes that participate in multiple sports, and as much as, it hurt on Saturday for our guys, I'm sure a number of them are getting into the batting cage as we speak and, getting ready to go. And like you said, track and field will be off and running here, literally. And, they'll be in the some indoor meets, and then hopefully Mother Nature cooperates. And then our softball team, of course, and boys golf starting a little bit later. They might actually get a season this year, whereas in the past couple of years, it's only been 3 or 4 or 5 meets, that you're trying to sneak in a week stretch. So Mother Nature's done her part to this point. Hopefully she continues to, and we have an exciting spring in Thompson.
And Coach, it's pretty rare to say that you can add a new program to your athletic offerings. So let's just say at Thompson, and you've had some individuals wrestle with other schools, but it looks like you guys are going to venture off on your own next year.
We are, yeah. Our school board voted recently here to add high school boys wrestling as a sport. Our girls are still going to stay with Grand Forks, just for the simple fact that we've had one student athlete participate there, have some success, and not having her have an opportunity to wrestle against other kids. We felt that it was probably more just a boys route. But we've had a group within Thompson that have worked for the past number of years to promote wrestling, get wrestling going, teach wrestling, get kids excited about it. And we do offer wrestling, or have offered wrestling, through Grand Forks Red River, but that gets to be a little bit of a challenge when kids are younger, just getting them to and from those events or those practices on a daily basis. So we moved that in-house this year with the junior high boys, and we have a co-op with Mayport area for hockey. And I just think, when it comes down to it, our job is to give kids an opportunity to participate if we have the interest. So, we have last year, I believe we had 9 males and females that wrestled, and we have interest from the lower level. So it was kind of a make or break year for us. A number of those kids are 8th grade kids, and they would have had to transition to Grand Forks Red River, or make the tougher decision to not wrestle. And, we don't want kids to not participate, because that's the reason why. So we are going to have wrestling. We'll tiptoe into the pool, and stay away from some home matches for sure that first year, and just get our feet wet into that whole situation. And then as we move forward, we'll fully embed that into what we're doing with our winter athletics. And again, it gives kids an opportunity, and I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the kids who want to participate in it, and they're going to get the opportunity to do that in Thompson.
Is this a first for Thompson as individual, or are you hearkening back to a time when you guys did have wrestling?
As far as I know, this will be the first time. Yeah. And the co-op with Grand Forks Red River came years ago out of a want by some students to participate in wrestling. And we had a staff member that was integral in getting us, that co-op. And Red River's numbers were a little bit lower, and as their numbers have increased, there's been less of a need for Thompson, although they would take our student athletes. And then, like I said, our numbers in-house have increased because of the work of people outside of the school, and now we're going to bring that in-house and give those kids an opportunity to wrestle here. So like you said, it doesn't happen very often. There's programs that are adding softball, there's programs that are adding dance, there's schools that are adding those types of things, but wrestling for a little while there was one of those sports that was kind of on the decline, and then when they added in female wrestling on its own, I think that sparked a little bit of the interest from that gender. And it's a community that they want to see thrive. So that I've had a number of schools that have already reached out with, what can we do to help? How can we, what do you need to know, et cetera, et cetera. So it's, I kind of gave them hey, give me a couple weeks here, and we'll get through this winter sports thing, and then we'll get going where we're going. And because there's a lot of behind the scenes thing with that sport, with the various weights and those types of things. But again, we'll learn here. I'll have to go back to my days as an AD in Minnesota and kind of recalibrate a little bit, and get some of those deadlines in my head. But it should be an exciting time for our kids, exciting time for our people that want to see wrestling go.
Brady, I know you mentioned a lot of moving parts, a lot of behind the scenes work going on. Do you have a coaching staff yet? Is that finalized? Do you need volunteers?
Well, yeah, we had an individual, Dwayne Norby, who coached our junior high students this year. We'll have conversations here in the next few weeks. We'll see if it's something we're going to open up. We'll see if it's something that he has an interest in, and then you got to figure out what your exact numbers are going to be. I've tried to explain to people time and time again that we'll have 150 elementary football players and we'll have 40 in high school. So there's a little bit of attrition that takes place, and how many coaches do we need? Getting them through the NDHSA coaching certification piece, plus the tracking devices that they need in wrestling, getting them schooled up in that. But like I said, there's a lot of people out there from other programs that are willing to help answer those questions, and we'll get through that, and then hopefully before the summer we'll have all those things in place and know where we're going come November next year.
Exciting times ahead for Thompson for sure. Brady, anything else you want to mention here on the winter sports season, or as we get close to spring?
Yeah, I think this year was really fun again for our student athletes. It was because our community is really involved in what we're doing, and we had great following at the region tournaments. Our students support each other, which is important, and it's something that you don't want to lose as you transition to a bigger class. You still want to see our students supporting each other, whether it's the girls team supporting the boys supporting the hockey players, et cetera, et cetera. It's fun to see those types of things, and it's fun to see our community get involved and support the kids that are doing what they're doing. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the media that we've had this year, whether it's your live event or the Keatings at KMAV. Ryan Cunningham's been out done some games and those types of things that I think those guys, it's just an expectation in today's day and age that you guys are going to do what you do, and people don't realize the amount of work that you guys put in to put on a broadcast or to call a game. So we appreciate that. And I know people that live outside of Thompson that can't make the games appreciate that. And it's been a welcome addition to our athletic department.
We appreciate the time here today, and in the past, all the pregame interviews for football and all the coaches show interviews. Brady Schwab, head football coach, head boys basketball coach, and the AD at Thompson, joining us to talk about some exciting things ahead and what's happened in the recent past. Coach, thanks for the time.
You bet. Thanks, James.
Live, work, and play here in Hillsborough, North Dakota. The Hillsborough Economic Development Committee can assist you with information and support for business and housing. Experience Hillsborough. More at 104.
Well, the first Greyhound to join us, we're going numerically here, is number 1, Brynlea Mahlen. Well, Brynlea, you had a nice send-off today at the school, and that support from not only your classmates, but everybody within the school, high school or elementary school, is huge.
Right. This is something that doesn't happen very often. So to have everyone be excited about it and support us and the whole team, that's really nice.
What's it mean as a senior? Because you came so close last year to going.
Right. It's like the best ending you could ask for. To play longer with the team is nice. I get to play with my sister for another week, which most people don't get to play with their younger friends that are on the team. So just getting an extra week, especially your senior year, is like the best ending you could ask for.
At the send-off, they had a really nice video for the whole team, but looking back at some of those pictures when you were in junior high and the same group of girls, it really puts it into perspective how many years you guys have been together.
Right. It's something that we've always wanted to do. So now to finally be able to do it, imagining it as a younger kid in junior high, just putting all this work in, hoping that one day it'll come to use. And it did last week, and it is going to feel like it this week too.
Now, a few weeks ago, Cass Lake Bena came to Fosston. It beat you by 29 points. Was there any doubt in your mind, or did you figure, and you were missing Callie, I know, but was there a little doubt that we're going to be able to do this, or no?
I think that, we were missing Callie, so that probably affected it a little bit, but I think we just realized that if we want to make it far, we're going to have to work harder than what we were that night, obviously, and put more time in. So the past couple weeks from that game, we have been putting way more time in as well.
Sometimes games like that can actually be a positive.
Right. Yes, it definitely was for us, to see where we're at and what we need to work on.
So what went through your mind after that final buzzer went off Friday night?
I was just, just all the time I put in the gym, just felt like it was all worth it in that one moment and something that I've always dreamed of.
Yeah, I'm going to ask all the girls to share a memory and maybe say hello to somebody, but do you have a memory you want to share?
My favorite memory, I feel like, was last summer when we went to Wisconsin Dells, and we actually did play Buffalo Lake down there. So just that whole tournament was fun, and, going to the water park as a team, it really brought the team closer together, and that kind of fostered our bond this year. And then I'll say hi to both my grandmas.
Okay, sounds good. Your mom, of course, coached back in the day, and I think it's safe to say she was maybe more nervous watching her daughters play on this year's Greyhound team than maybe when she coached.
Probably, when she's coaching, she has her mind on something, but when she's up in the stand, she can't really do anything to help us. So.
Yeah. Well, Brynlea, hey, congratulations, a great job, and have the best luck down there at the state tournament.
Thank you.
Again, that does it for the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. It's presented to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. Make sure you join us every Wednesday night starting at 7 for more updates and stories throughout the land of high school sports here on YourLiveEvent.com.